Hello and welcome to SportsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and that much-awaited test game between India and South Africa will begin at Vizag tomorrow. A lot of points to ponder over, a lot of loopholes to discuss, a lot of chinks in the armor of the Indian team as well as the South African team to deliberate over. But we will have to talk about how South Africa are going to get over or perhaps not get intimidated by this juggernaut called the Indian Test team. They have been undefeated in India since 2013 and they have won the last 10 series which have been played at home. So India is as formidable. Everything is set for us except the opening pair. Rohit Sharma and Mayank Agarwal will perhaps be a fresh pair who will open the innings for India. A fresh pair will open the innings for India after 47 years. The last time it was done was way back in 1972. But India will also have its own ghost to deal with. Of course, Bumrah is not going to be a part of this team, but it's the spinners who, however, were going to do all the leg work and get us those precious wickets. South Africa is not considered to be very effective against spin, and that is where the opportunity for India is going to fall. And we'll talk about this with our guest. And joining me on the show is Rajkumar Sharma, Virat Kohli's coach. Mr. Sharma, appreciate you joining us. And we will get to you, but first up, let's listen into some of the reactions that have come in from the Indian captain as well as the Proteas captain.
We have given people opportunities in the past. Mayank came into the system. KL had been there for a while. Vijay was opening for a while. So there is definitely going to be room for people to come in because of their performances. But look, we feel like because we have a test championship to look forward to, and Rohit's been in the test setup for a long time, and it's about providing him with the opportunity to really find his game and find that template that he wants to in test cricket. And we understand that if he does that, then our batting order at the top becomes even more lethal. Rishabh, given the opportunities, had done well, and although Saha was almost going to start, but we felt like it's better to just let him ease back into things rather than just forcing him again into starting immediately. So we all felt like that he's just come back, and although he's keeping well, he's batting well, but it's fair to give Rishabh a few more opportunities because of what he's done in the past season for us. But yeah, look, Saha was always going to be someone that we would back as a pure keeper in Test cricket, and he's done well under pressure situations also in the past for us. So it was just about finding the right opportunity and the moment to bring him back in. And you need to be wary of those things in a team environment where you understand when to bring a player back and when to give another guy more opportunities. So I think these are very delicate things, and you can always look at the hindsight whether the timing was right or not. But just go with your gut feel along with the management, and then you take a call and you stand behind your decision. But I feel for now it's the right time for Saha to come back and get into his own, and then we know what he can do with the gloves and with the bat as well under pressure situations.
See, important is to win the series, win the match, and because of this test championship, you cannot take any team for granted. Point systems are involved, so I think it's important to respect your opponents. See, Faf, again, he's an experienced campaigner. Bauma is a good player. He did well in the practice game. Markram did well in the practice game as well. So I think it's important we respect them, but at the same time we play our game. We know these conditions really well. So for us, what is important that we play as a unit and focus on our strengths.
It's a challenge, but I've always been the type of person and character that really enjoys the challenge. I think that generally brings the best out of me as a personality and as a character. So that's one thing you have to look forward to. You can't look at the teams that you're playing and see it's, oh dear, it's you're playing against some really strong opposition. You've got to face on head on. It's a real good time for me to be involved with a young team. There's a lot of senior players that's out of our system. Our leadership group has changed completely. You've lost all your experience in those players, but what that does is it's a new time for growing new leaders in our team. The next best fast bowlers that's going to come through, who they're going to be, the next best Ashim Amlas, who they're going to be. So it's exciting for me to be working with the young guys at the moment.
All right, good to have Faf du Plessis also back into the fold of things. He was not there for the T20 bit. And joining me on the program is former India cricketer Deep Das Gupta, and along with him Rajkumar Sharma, coach of Virat Kohli. Deep, let me come to you first. We spoke about the Indian team yesterday, and we will get to the Indian challenges which the captain and the entire unit has to contend with. But the South Africans have come here at the back of some massive changes in the team. They have tested themselves in the T20 games, but the good news for them is that Faf du Plessis is going to come back, and Markram also did pretty well, struck up a century in the practice game just a few days back. So these are positives that South Africa can take a cue from and derive some sort of a semblance and confidence off of.
True, and you know what, I just have a feeling this team is a lot more closer than the South African teams I've seen before, predominantly because Iran is superstars, so to say. If you look at this team, everyone is very gritty, everyone's very focused. They are almost of this kind of a team batch thing. And I think there is a good change in that setup in the last 2-3 months. You spoke about Markram, yes. You spoke about Bavuma. Ajinkya spoke about Bavuma in his press conference. There are other young guys like Felix Idun. He got 100, and that too was against Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. So he's good on subcontinent track. He can play the spin well. Most importantly, listen, they have the bowling unit. They have someone like Indian Giri. They have obviously Zapada. They have Palander, and also the spinners. Maharaj has been really good in his short international career. Dan Peace, he's got more than 300 wickets in first-class cricket. And mind you, he was last year in domestic cricket in South Africa with the highest wicket taker, which is very, very rare indeed. A spinner being the highest wicket taker in the South African domestic circuit. So I think all in all, we don't have really massive names in there, but I think they have good quality cricketers who have the ability to play together as a unit.
Right, and Mr. Sharma, Deep has in fact raised a very pertinent point that the South Africans will also to some extent try to leverage the spinners that they have. They have, they have Keshav Maharaj, they have Dane Peat, and they also have Muthusamy. But at the same time, spin is going to be our strength. We are good players of spin, and on the other hand, the South Africans have always been very pedestrian when it comes to playing spin. So on one hand, you have India, which is perhaps known for taking 60 to 70% of its scalps through spin wizardry, and then you have South Africa, which is going to perhaps have some spinners try and trick the Indian batsmen, but to no avail. What do you make of this imbalance?
I think you rightly said that India is known to play spinners very well, and we have shown in the past that we are very good players of spin bowling. And on the other hand, India has got bowlers in form of Jadeja and Ashwin, both quality bowlers, and they know the conditions very well, and they know the wicket, and they have been hunting in pairs always, and they have been a very successful pair when they play in India. So it gets very difficult for any team playing in India to face them on the third or fourth day, So and they're both quality bowlers. So I think South Africa, they are known that everybody knows that they don't play spin so well. So I think they can cause a lot of problems for South African batsmen.
Right, and we also are joined by Ratinder Singh Sodhi. Ricky, looking great as always, and we'll soon find something from Deep Das Gupta that you do not agree with, but in fact we'll have to wait for that. My first question to you is going to be, Faf du Plessis is back in the fold for the South Africans. Dean Elgar is also somebody who's done well against the Indian team. Are these two batsmen along with Quinton de Kock enough to trouble our spinners?
Look, they are international batsmen. They have done well for their country, and they have been in form. They have put years together, so they have all the experience. But at the same time, Vineet, we should not forget, with due respect to all these batsmen, they are playing in India on spinning wickets. and against world-class spinners. South Africa might be having good spinners in their ranks, but when we compare the quality of Indian spin attack with the spin attack of South Africa, there's a huge difference. And then how they place the spinners when it will be turning, how they use their technique, how they play with the straight bat, because often these batsmen come with one option, that is play sweep frequently, and Indian bowlers know that. They know if somebody is sweeping the ball, how to tackle those batsmen. So life won't be easy, but at the same time, it's an international contest, big contest, test cricket. India has to really play well.
Now, Deep, what kind of a foolhardy risk would we be in fact contemplating if we undermine the South Africans? In the last 35 years, India has in fact lost just 3 matches by an innings, and they have been at the hands of the South Africans. So, you know, there is something that in fact history can also teach us, never to take any side for granted, and that's perhaps also something we did in that second T20, the third T20 rather. Deep, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Yeah, I mean, there's some issues with the Skype there, but yeah. Listen, obviously you can't take them lightly. You can't take them lightly because, and the other important thing I think Jitendra mentioned, and we all are aware of the surfaces. Yes, the Indian surfaces will be helpful to the spinners, but quickly speaking about the surface, I would rather have a normal Indian or subcontinental surface which is not a ranked turner. Remember the last time the South Africans were over in India, they were ranked turners. Because what happens with the ranked turner is the difference in the skill level is kind of nullified. Because if you give a ranked turner, Jadeja and Maharaj, they will be equal in terms of skill. Same with the Dan Peed and Ashwin. You know, you give them a turner, they could be as dangerous as anyone else. And mind you, yes, Indians are good players against Spain, but there is a question mark last 2-3 years. Let's not forget that every time in the last 3 years, India has come up against Spain, be it Netherlands, especially off spinners I'm mentioning here, we have struggled because not too many of the Indian batsmen they sweep. Obviously, the bowlers nowadays are quite flattish in their trajectories. It's very difficult to step out ahead. So the other option is sweeping. Not too many batsmen actually sweep in that Indian batting lineup, and if I can think of anyone, I think Siteshwar Pujara sweeps a bit. Riddhiman Saha sweeps a lot, as all wicket keepers do. But I honestly don't think there are too many batsmen who can sweep. And if you give the South Africans ranked turners, they might just surprise a few of us.
Right, and in fact, Mr. Sharma, we also have to consider that, you know, there is a bit of a pedigree or a history between Virat Kohli as well as the pacers that South Africa is going to be playing against India, especially Rabada and Ngidi. You know, they've had these, you know, these small tiffs also on field, and there's this healthy rivalry that exists between Virat Kohli and some of the South African bowlers. To what extent is that going to motivate Virat Kohli, you know, to in fact to finish this test perhaps in just 4 days?
Well, you rightly said there is a healthy rivalry between Rabada and Virat Kohli. Moreover, they have got good bowlers in Ngidi and one more guy. So, I mean, I think South Africa will totally rely, mostly they will rely on their fast bowlers. And Virat, as always, loves, you know, challenges, and he knows that people are watching that how Rabada will bowl to him, how he'll come up to him, and he prepares very well as he visualizes that Rabada is going to test him, you know, outside the off stump or whatever, you know. So he's always one step ahead of the bowler. And I think this will happen again, that it will be a good contest between Virat and Rabada, and people would love to see this entertainment.
Absolutely. And Deep, happy that you're back with us. In fact, we have to talk about our opening pair. Rohit Sharma is going to, you know, make that walk down to the middle of the, you know, the pitch with Mayank Agarwal. And India has always, you know, had this conundrum when it comes to the opening for the last few years. But South Africa on the other side, no matter how much you sort of feel that this team is new in terms of experience and hands-on play, they have only tried just one new batsman at the opening in the last 3 years. That does give you some sort of a semblance and some sort of a perspective into how basically sorted the South African opening has been for the past few years vis-a-vis an Indian opening.
True. I would agree. But also, if you look at last couple of years, world over, the openers have not scored runs. The only opener who's actually scored runs is Karunaratne, and that was predominantly against South Africa at home. He scored around 700, 600 odd runs in that one series. So, it's not been a good year for openers all over the world. Yes, we've tried around 6 opening players in the last year or something, maybe year and a half now, starting from South Africa series away from 2018. So, that is one thing which is there. Rohit Sharma, again, it's going to be interesting. I'm sure everyone's going to keep their eyes out for how he performs. Obviously, something that was pretty visible as far as I'm concerned, and Kohli will agree or not, I don't know, and so will that he has made a little change in his technique. He's going back and across, which he used to before as well, but now I think his front foot is not going too across. He's more on the middle stump, with his toe open up towards the bowler. So those are minor changes that he's made, and that's very interesting. How's that going to play out? Because that's what I'm looking at. Rohit Sharma is a white ball great, modern day great, you may call it. Now red ball cricket, which he's not been able to establish himself, those minute changes, manipulations that he makes in your batting, that's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm looking forward. Listen, we all want Rohit to do well. There's no two ways about it. He's been such a great batsman, especially white ball cricket. But it'll be interesting to see how he manages red ball cricket and the new ball with Rabada and Philander. One who gets the ball back into his pads, and Philander who takes it away from him.
Well, absolutely. In fact, the red ball is going to be what's going to be testing Rohit Sharma. Let's see if we can sort of pull up the Indian 11 that is going to be taking on South Africa tomorrow. But Ricky, coming to you, Saha is going to be keeping for the team. I'm sure you were not surprised when the captain made this call vis-a-vis Rishabh Pant. I know you've always been a big fan of Rishabh.
Because even the selectors, if you go back... no, but when we talk about Test cricket, Vineet, Rishabh Pant has not done anything bad to be out of the 11. He has got centuries, overseas centuries. But at the same time, what Virat Kohli has come up, his statement is that they want a specialist wicketkeeper, one of the best wicketkeeper, and he has tagged Saha as one of the best, as the best wicketkeeper in the world. So that's a big statement from the great captain. And then Saha is now back in the fold, and I'm sure great opportunity for him. He was very unfortunate, got injured at a very wrong time, but now back in the 11, I'm sure he'll be blazing all cylinders.
Right, and Mr. Sharma, the good thing about this Indian lineup that we see on our screens, that besides that spin threat that South Africa has to contend with in Jadeja and Ashwin, we also have very deep batting.
Yeah, I think it looks a very deep batting with these two all-rounders. Both we can count Ashwin as well as Jadeja as all-rounders, and top 6 players are 2 good batsmen. So I think we really bat deep except for 2 fast bowlers. Everybody can contribute, and we have seen that Ishant also can give stand to anybody, and he has got that solid defense. So I think India really bats deep, and they can score big if needed.
Right, Deep, from Rohit's point of view, how important is it going for, be for Rohit Sharma to, in fact, take care of the first half an hour or 45 minutes, because that is when he can make or break his game?
Yeah, the first half an hour, 45 minutes will be important. The first innings will be important. He must be having doubts in his own mind. We all do. At first we were playing, we all had doubts. And especially somebody like Rohit who's trying to make a comeback. But having said that first half an hour, 45 minutes, it'll be very interesting how he manages it. Because it's a mind game. Anyone who's played this game will tell you it's a mind game. Yes, you have made those changes physically and technically, but end of the day, it's your mental discipline which needs to use you. Like I said, I mean, they're going to be challenging them. The bowlers that I'm mentioning, Philander, Rabada, they're very different kinds of bowlers. One bowls at 140 plus, Philander bowls at 120s, at early 130s. So there's a difference in the pace. The bat speed will be different while you're playing against them. Both are very different kind of bowlers, and both of them are very accurate as well. So I think it's going to be a big challenge, but the first innings will be so crucial for someone like Rohit Sharma, or anyone for that matter, who's trying to make a comeback. So yeah, it'll be a big challenge.
All right, Ricky, in fact, I see your finger go up. Go ahead, make your point, and then I'll throw a question at you.
Yeah, I just want to add on that Rohit Sharma is going to play a very important game now, test opener. But at the same time, we should not forget, Vineet, that in this form, in the shorter format, Rohit Sharma is the most dangerous batsman in the world. So what little I know about Rohit, he will not go for a major change in his batting, in his technique, or in his mindset also. He will go for his shots, but he will be cautious that seeing the new ball through, that's
Ricky,
important.
Ricky,
Rabada
we have
will be
to,
blazing all cylinders. It's important not to give...
We have to keep in mind that he did go out on a duck in the practice game, which was held a couple of days back.
Yeah, that is, but he's too big a player, Vineet. I think that would not actually hamper him at all or rattle him at all, because these players know how to come out of failure, and this one failure here and there will not affect him, I'm sure, when we talk about mindset. He'll play positive cricket, and if we get runs, that would be blessing for Team India, because we need somebody like Virender Sehwag, who used to take the game away from the opposition in the first session of the test match itself. So Rohit's form will be very important.
All right, Deep, you wanted to come in fact, make your point, and then I'll go to Mr. Sharma. We also have a paucity of time on the show.
Yeah, quickly. It's just that I'm really interested to see, because of the changes that he's made and the fixes that he's showing right now will tell you that his front foot opening up. That gives me an indication that he's thinking a little bit about the ball coming in, which has bothered him in the past. Anything that pitches and comes into it. That'll be interesting to see now how he plays Philander, who generally takes the ball away from him, because the last few games that you've seen, he's got behind. Even the side game that we're talking about, he was caught in the split. Just I think T20 or the third T20, he was caught in the split. So that's going to be interesting. See, these are mind games, right? Test match cricket is a proper test, right? So it does not matter how many scores, how much you scored before, but every game, every innings is a new innings, and it's very, very interesting.
Mr. Sharma, the longest format of the game, the Test Championship is also at stake. Every Test match is going to carry 40 points. Do you think that has further galvanized all the players to make this competition a lot more intense, whether be it in India or anywhere else? Though most of the pundits believe that beating India in India is a Himalayan task.
Yeah, it has always been, for any touring team to beat India in India has been very difficult, and I must congratulate ICC that they have introduced this Test Championship, so that interest has gone up now. The intensity in the Test match would be seen. Every team would be fighting it out for the points, So, and as I said earlier, India is a team which is very difficult to beat at home, because they've got tremendous batting lineup. That is our strength, and here our spinners also play a big role in winning the Test matches.
All right. In fact, Ricky, just one last question for you. There are chances of rain in Vizag tomorrow that could play spoil sport. The weather is going to be extremely grateful and conducive. Otherwise, if it doesn't rain, what do you anticipate is going to happen in the first day at least?
I really feel that if India wins the toss, they will bat first, and then we know second, third day pitch tends to deteriorate a bit. That's a trend we have when we play test matches in India. And the word you have said, Himalayan task. So it would be a Himalayan task for South Africa to upset India in this series in India.
Well, absolutely. It will be a prudent and a wise decision for India to, in fact, to win the toss and bat first. It would also add, a sort of a less burden on an already tensed Rohit Sharma. Deep, Ratinder Singh Sodhi and Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for joining us. And that is all we have on this edition of SportsX. Thank you for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.